Hey everyone! Welcome back to Easy Speak World with Maya and Ethan, your favorite place where you learn real English through real conversations. Okay, so can I be really honest with you all for a second? Like genuinely, truly honest?
Uh-oh.
No, it's not bad. It's just, so this morning I woke up, made my coffee, sat at my desk, and I looked at my to-do list. And I just stared at it for like 10 minutes. Just stared. And nothing happened. I didn't start anything. I didn't cross anything off. I just sat there feeling this weird, heavy feeling like, okay, here we go again. Another day, same thing.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
And it hit me. I think that's one of the most common feelings people have, and nobody really talks about it properly. That feeling of being stuck, like you're running but not moving, like a hamster on a wheel.
That image is very accurate, by the way.
Right? And as always, I've got Ethan here with me today, and we are going to dig into that feeling. Why it happens, what it actually means in English, how to talk about it, and maybe, how to start getting unstuck.
Yeah, Maya, I think this is one of those topics that sounds simple on the surface, but once you actually pull at the thread, it gets really interesting. Because feeling stuck isn't just one thing. It's like an umbrella for a bunch of different emotions.
Ooh, I like that, an umbrella word. We'll come back to that.
We will.
But first, before we go deeper, if you've ever had that morning where you just cannot make yourself start something, even though you want to, drop a comment below. Tell us, are you a procrastinator? Are you stuck right now? Are you watching this instead of doing the thing you're supposed to be doing?
No judgment.
Absolutely no judgment. We are a safe space. Also, if you're new here, welcome. Hit that subscribe button because every week we bring you conversations just like this one. Real English, real topics, real talk. Okay, Ethan, let's go.
So, stuck. Let's actually start with the word itself, because it's interesting. When we say someone feels stuck, what do we mean?
Okay, so in everyday English, stuck means you can't move forward. Like literally, physically. If your shoe is stuck in mud, it won't come out. But emotionally, it means you feel like you can't change, even if you want to.
Right. And notice, it's not the same as being lazy.
Yes, that's so important.
Because lazy means you don't want to do something. But stuck means you do want to, you can see where you want to go, but something is blocking you, something invisible.
And that invisible thing is what makes it so frustrating, right? Because you can't point at it. You can't fix it easily. You just feel it.
Exactly. So here's a useful phrase. You can say, I feel like I'm going in circles. That means you keep doing the same things and ending up in the same place.
Oh, yes, going in circles. I love that one. You can also say, I feel like I'm spinning my wheels. Like your car wheels are moving, but you're not going anywhere.
That's a really natural expression. Very common in conversation.
And there's another one I hear a lot. I feel like I'm in a rut. A rut, R-U-T, is like a deep groove in the road. If you drive into a rut, you get stuck there. So if your life is in a rut, it means your routine has become a trap.
A trap you built yourself, slowly, without noticing.
Which is the most terrifying kind of trap, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, so why do people get stuck? Because I think there are a few different reasons, and they look similar from the outside, but they're actually very different.
Yeah. I think the first one is fear, and specifically fear of failure. Like sometimes people don't move forward because they're scared that if they try and fail, it'll be worse than not trying at all.
Oh, that one hits.
Right? There's even a name for it. It's called paralysis by analysis. That means you think so much about all the possible outcomes, all the ways it could go wrong, that you freeze. You can't make a decision.
I am deeply personally familiar with this.
Most people are.
And the word paralysis is great to know. It literally means you can't move. It's a medical word too, like when a part of your body stops working. But in everyday English, we use it to mean mentally frozen.
I was paralyzed with fear. That's a very natural sentence.
Totally natural. You'd hear that in conversations, in movies, and books.
So that's one reason, fear of failure. What's another one?
Okay, I think another huge one is comfort zone. This one is interesting because it sounds positive, right? Comfort, like, isn't it good to be comfortable?
On the surface, yeah.
But your comfort zone is the space where things feel safe and familiar. And the problem is, if you never leave it, you never grow. You just get cozy and a little bored.
And sometimes you don't even realize you're bored. You just feel vaguely flat.
Flat. That's such a good word for it. Not sad, not happy, just flat, like a deflated balloon.
Huh. Yeah, exactly.
And that flatness, that's often the first sign that you've been in your comfort zone too long.
Okay, so here's a question, and I want listeners to think about this too. What does it actually feel like the moment before you get unstuck? Like, what's the trigger?
Oh, interesting.
Because I've noticed for me, it's usually a moment of frustration. Like, I get annoyed enough at myself that something clicks.
Wait, really? From me, it's almost the opposite. It's usually a moment of stillness. Like I'll be in the shower or on a walk and something just becomes clear. A thought, an idea. And suddenly I feel a kind of energy I didn't have before.
That's interesting. We actually have a word for that, a spark, like a small flame that starts a fire. We say something sparked your motivation.
Yes, what sparked your interest in this is a really common question in English, or that conversation sparked something in me.
And the opposite, when your motivation slowly disappears, we say it faded or burned out.
Burnout. That's a really important word for English learners to know. It's when you've worked so hard or been so stressed for so long that you have nothing left. You're exhausted on every level, physical, emotional, mental.
And it's different from just being tired. Tiredness goes away after sleep. Burnout doesn't.
Right. If you sleep 8 hours and still wake up feeling empty and exhausted, that might be burnout.
So, stuck, flat, paralyzed, burned out, these are all part of the same emotional neighborhood, but they're different places within it.
I love emotional neighborhood. That's very poetic, Ethan.
Thank you. I have my moments.
Okay, stay with us because in a few minutes we're going to talk about the language of change, how you actually describe moving forward. What words and phrases do people use when they decide to get unstuck? We'll get to that.
And we'll also share some really natural phrases you can use in your own conversations when you or someone you know is going through this.
But first, I want to talk about something a little more specific, because I think one of the reasons people stay stuck is something nobody really likes to admit.
Oh yeah? What's that?
They're waiting for permission.
Hmm.
Like waiting for someone to say, okay, it's safe now, you can go. Waiting for the perfect moment. Waiting for a sign.
Oh, that's real.
And here's the thing. In English, we have a phrase for this kind of waiting. We say someone is waiting for the stars to align. It means waiting for everything to be perfect at the same time.
And of course, the stars never fully align.
They never do, because life is messy and imperfect, and something is always slightly off. The timing is never perfect. The money is never quite enough. The confidence is never fully there.
So if you wait for all the stars to align, you wait forever.
Exactly. And there's a better phrase. We say, you have to take the leap. To take a leap means to do something brave even when you're not sure of the outcome. To jump, even without a safety net.
It's a beautiful phrase, and it implies courage, not recklessness.
Yes, that's the nuance. Taking a leap isn't the same as being careless. It means you've thought about it, you're scared, and you do it anyway.
Feel the fear and do it anyway. There's actually a famous book with that title.
Right, and that idea is baked into the English language in so many ways. We talk about stepping out of your comfort zone, which literally means taking one step beyond the boundary of what feels safe.
So I want to talk about routine now, because I think a lot of feeling stuck is tied to routine, or more specifically, a routine that has become stale.
Stale, like old bread.
Exactly. Bread that was fresh once, but now it's hard and dry and not very nice.
I actually love that as a metaphor. Your routine can go stale. It was fine once, it worked, it helped you, but if you keep doing it forever without changing anything, it loses its flavor.
And we have a few expressions for this in English. One is, I'm stuck in a routine, which we've kind of already covered. But another one is, I'm on autopilot.
Oh, yes, being on autopilot. That means doing things automatically, without really thinking, like a plane flying itself.
You wake up, brush your teeth, make coffee, sit at your desk, check your phone, and it's all just automatic. you're not present.
And being present is actually key to feeling unstuck, I think, because when you're on autopilot, you're not really choosing your life. You're just being carried along by it.
That's well put.
Choosing your life versus being carried along by your life. I think that's actually the core difference.
And to choose your life, you have to be intentional. That word, intentional, is huge in modern English. It means doing things on purpose, with awareness, with a clear reason.
You hear it everywhere. I'm trying to be more intentional with my time. She's very intentional about her relationships. It basically means the opposite of autopilot.
Great word. Let's make sure everyone writes that down. Intentional. It will make you sound very fluent if you use it naturally.
Okay, let's shift gears a little. I want to talk about something that I think trips people up, specifically in English. And that's, how do you talk about wanting to change?
Ah, yes. The language of change.
Because in a lot of languages, people say things very directly. But in English, especially natural spoken English, there are these softer, more nuanced ways to express the desire for change. And if you don't know them, you might sound a bit blunt or a bit robotic.
Right. So instead of saying, I want to change my life, which is fine, but a little heavy, you might hear someone say,
I'm trying to make some shifts. That's very natural. A shift is a small movement, not a total revolution, just a gentle turn of direction.
or I'm in a bit of a transitional phase. A transitional phase means you're moving from one chapter of your life to the next. It sounds calm and mature.
Ooh, yes. And here's one I love. I'm figuring things out. That one is so real, so human. It means I don't have it all together yet, but I'm working on it.
Very relatable. Very honest.
And you can pair it with I'm taking it one day at a time, which means you're not trying to solve everything at once, just focusing on today.
That phrase actually carries a lot of emotional weight in English. It's often used by people going through difficult times, grief, illness, recovery, but it works for everyday struggles too.
Totally. And then there's I'm working on myself, which sounds a little cliche maybe, but it's genuine and people use it all the time.
The word working on is really useful. It suggests ongoing effort, not a finished product.
Yes, as opposed to I fixed myself, which nobody really says because growth isn't a fix, it's a process.
Speaking of process, let's talk about setbacks. Because one of the reasons people give up when they're trying to change is they hit a setback and they think it means failure.
Oh, yes, this is so important.
A setback is when something goes wrong along the way. Not total failure, just a backward step. And in English, there are some really good ways to talk about setbacks without catastrophizing.
Catastrophizing, that's another great word. It means blowing something up into a huge disaster in your mind, making it worse than it is.
Like you miss one day at the gym and your brain says, I've failed, everything is ruined, I'll never be healthy.
Yes, been there.
That's catastrophizing. And one way to push back against it in English is to say, it's just a setback, not a failure. Or, I had a rough patch, but I'm back on track.
A rough patch, that's beautiful. A patch is a small section of something. A rough patch is a short, difficult period. It has a beginning and an end. It's not your whole life.
And back on track means you've returned to the right direction, like a train that went off the rails for a moment, but is now moving forward again.
These phrases are so hopeful, like the language itself carries optimism. Rough patch, back on track, moving forward, they all imply that this moment is temporary.
And that's actually a really powerful thing about language. The words you use to describe your experience shape how you feel about it.
Completely. If you tell yourself, I'm a failure, that's a permanent identity. But if you say, I had a setback, that's a temporary event. Very different.
Okay, I want to bring in some listener energy here, and I want you all to think about this. What is one area of your life right now where you feel stuck? Just one. It could be work, relationships, health, learning English, anything.
Just hold that thought for a second, because what we want to talk about now is, what do you say to yourself when you want to get moving? What's the internal conversation?
Because often the language we use inside our own heads is our biggest obstacle.
So here are some phrases that are genuinely useful, not just as English vocabulary, but as things you can actually think and say to yourself.
First one, progress, not perfection. This is huge. It means you don't need to do it perfectly. You just need to do a little bit better than yesterday.
I have this basically tattooed on my brain. Progress, not perfection. It removes so much pressure.
Second, done is better than perfect. Similar idea. It means a finished, imperfect thing is more valuable than an unfinished, perfect one.
So true. You know how many projects people never finish because they want them to be perfect first?
So many.
Done is better than perfect. Write that somewhere. Stick it on your wall.
Third phrase, small steps add up. This one is about momentum. You don't have to make a huge change overnight. Small, consistent actions compound over time.
Compound, like compound interest. Small things grow. And in English, we also say, Rome wasn't built in a day, which means big things take time, and that's normal.
Classic phrase, still very much in use.
And one more. This one is for moments when you feel scared to start. The hardest part is starting. Because it's true, right? Once you're moving, it gets easier. It's the first step that costs the most energy.
There's actually a concept in physics called inertia. An object at rest tends to stay at rest, and an object in motion tends to stay in motion. And it applies perfectly to human behavior.
Oh, I love when physics gets emotional.
Same.
Okay, so we've talked about being stuck. We've talked about why it happens. We've talked about the language of change. Let me ask you something more personal, Ethan.
Sure.
Have you ever been properly stuck? Like, not just a slow week, but actually, genuinely, this isn't working stuck.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
Tell us.
So, a few years ago, I was in a job that was fine. Not bad, just fine. And I had convinced myself that fine was good enough, that wanting more was greedy or unrealistic. So I just stayed.
And how did that feel?
Like I was slowly fading. Not dramatically, not a crisis, just a slow dim, like a light bulb on low.
Slowly fading. That's such a vivid image.
And I think that's more common than the dramatic, I can't take it anymore kind of stuck. Most stuckness is quiet. It doesn't announce itself.
It just settles in.
Yeah. And the turning point for me, the thing that actually got me moving, was someone asking me a very simple question.
They said, if nothing changed, would you be okay with this being your life?
Oh, wow.
And my honest answer was no. And that no, that was the start.
That question is incredible. If nothing changed, would you be okay with this? I think everyone should ask themselves that regularly.
It's not a comfortable question, but it's an honest one.
And sometimes you need the honest question before the honest answer, and then the honest action.
So let's pull together some of the vocabulary and phrases we've covered today, because I want to make sure everyone goes away with something they can actually use.
Great idea. Let's do a little mini recap. And remember, the goal isn't just to know these phrases. It's to be able to use them naturally in your own life, in your own conversations.
So to describe the feeling of being stuck, you can say,
I feel like I'm going in circles. I'm spinning my wheels. I'm in a rut. I'm on autopilot. I'm just going through the motions.
great. And going through the motions, that means doing the actions without any real feeling or engagement, like acting without the emotion behind it.
Beautiful. And to describe fear and hesitation.
I'm afraid to take the leap. I keep waiting for the right moment. I'm paralyzed by what might go wrong.
And to describe starting to move.
Something sparked in me. I decided to step out of my comfort zone. I'm trying to be more intentional. I'm taking it one day at a time.
And when you've hit a setback.
It's just a rough patch. I had a setback, but I'm back on track. Progress, not perfection. Done is better than perfect.
Beautiful. That is a genuinely useful set of phrases. Native speakers use all of those regularly. Okay, last thing. I want to end on something real because we've talked a lot about change and movement and getting unstuck, but I think it's worth saying something gentle.
Yeah?
Sometimes being stuck is actually the right thing for a moment. Sometimes you need to pause, to rest, to let something settle before you move again. And there's a difference between being stuck and being still.
That's an important distinction.
Stuck is when you want to move, but you can't. Still is when you're consciously choosing to rest, to reflect, to wait. Stillness can be really powerful.
And we have a phrase for that too. Sit with something. Like, I'm going to sit with this feeling for a while. It means giving yourself time to fully feel and understand something before reacting.
I love that phrase. Sit with it. Don't rush it. Don't fix it. Just be with it.
Because sometimes the feeling of being stuck is actually telling you something important. It's information.
Your emotions are information, not instructions. I read that somewhere and it genuinely changed how I think.
That is really good.
Emotions tell you something is happening. They don't tell you exactly what to do. You get to decide that.
So, to wrap up, what's the one thing you want people to take away today?
I think if you feel stuck right now, whether in your English or career, your relationships, your daily life, I want you to know that stuck is not permanent. It's a moment. It passes.
And the language you use about it matters. Don't say, I'm a failure. Say, I'm in a rough patch. Don't say, I'll never change. Say, I'm figuring it out.
Small language shifts lead to real mindset shifts.
And for your English specifically, the phrases we shared today, use them in a journal, in a message to a friend, out loud to yourself in the mirror.
No shame in that, by the way. Talking to yourself in the mirror is genuinely one of the best ways to practice spoken English.
It really is.
And if nothing else, remember that question. If nothing changed, would I be okay with this? Ask it honestly. Listen to the answer. And then, take the leap.
Okay, that's it for today's episode of Easy Speak World. If this conversation spoke to you, and we hope it did, please hit the like button. It takes 1 second, and it genuinely helps us reach more people who are trying to grow their English.
And subscribe if you haven't already. We put out new episodes every week, and every single one is designed to feel like this, a real conversation that you actually enjoy listening to.
And leave us a comment. We actually read them all. Tell us, where do you feel stuck right now? And what's one thing that has helped you get moving in the past?
We'd love to know.
Okay, everyone, take care of yourselves. Be intentional, be patient, and remember, progress, not perfection.
See you next time.
Bye.